Welcome to Recently Logged, where I shoved an anime down Robbie's throat and he actually liked it.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to Recently Logged.
We already
again.
said that.
Yeah, we've said it again. Good job.
Yeah, today's episode may be a little bit later. Since we are recording a little later.
Oh, I mean, it'll probably only come out like 2 or 3 hours late, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about a TV show. I think we already said, maybe.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, you said an anime. It could be a movie. Who knows? My goodness.
That's true.
No one knows.
Today we're talking about a TV show. We already technically did a TV show if you consider WandaVision.
But this is the true, like, TV show
we're doing. This is, like, going to have multiple seasons.
Yeah.
It's not a limited series.
This is the first time we've ever done one on the show.
Yeah, it's
on the pod.
It's going to be interesting. We like when we started season 3, we were like, yeah, we're going to do TV shows, and then we just didn't for like the first 9 episodes, unless you count like WandaVision.
Well,
again.
I mean, there are a lot more watching hours than a movie is.
Right?
We usually just try and watch a movie once or twice. If we haven't seen it before, we'll try and watch it 2 times at least.
And if we've seen it like a million times, we just watch it before.
We just watch it right before. But this is a lot more watching hours.
Yeah, I think this was like 10 hours to get through the show.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've put like 2 working days, or probably close to 3 working days this week into this one episode.
And I watched it twice.
Let's hope it goes over well.
So yeah, let's just get into the basic facts about Demon Slayer. First off, I'd like to apologize to any Japanese viewers.
Oh yes.
Because while I have started to learn Japanese, I'm just doing a Duolingo course. I am really not going to do so hot at pronouncing this stuff.
I'd like to apologize to any viewers, actually.
And yeah, I apologize. But anyway, the show we were talking about today is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, I think is how you say it, I believe.
I'm not sure.
It is a 2019 show.
Indeed.
It's rated TV mature. It is 624 minutes.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot of minutes.
Yeah. The main cast is, man, do you think I should attempt the main cast?
Sure, just try it. There are only 4 of them. Just try it out. See how it goes.
Natsuki, I don't know how to say his last name, honestly.
Hanane or something? Or no, there's not 2 N's. I have no idea.
And then Akira Koto.
Cool name.
Hiro Shimono.
Uh-huh. I mean, there's really only like one way you can pronounce that, yeah.
Yoshisugu Mashisuka. Or Matsushuka, I think. I don't know.
Yes.
Again, really sorry.
Yes.
You can check the...
yes, I was about to say, they're in the episode description, and also on Letterboxd.
But those are the main voice actors for the show, not the English dub, of course, because that's...
What English dub?
No English dub. Apparently it won some anime awards.
I mean, that's not surprising.
It won
the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Yes, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
I thought it was on Funimation, not Crunchyroll.
They're the same company now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But it's on both, by the way.
Oh.
It's not a Funimation anime.
Well, yeah, it's a UFO table or whatever it is.
But it won Best Fight Scene and Anime of the Year.
Oh, that's not surprising.
And Best Boy.
Best Boy.
Can't believe that's a category, but then again, these are the Crunchyroll Awards.
The Crunchyroll Awards.
It was nominated for Best Protagonist, Best Girl, Best Animation, Best Score.
Well, there you go.
So,
I mean, I guess it got some acclaim at the Crunchyroll Awards.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge anime the year it came out.
Did it get any, like, Golden Globe nominations or anything?
No.
Oh.
There are 26 episodes total.
Yes, that is true. I can confirm that.
Each of them are about 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the basic facts. Again, sorry to the voice actors.
They did a great job, by the way.
No, they did an amazing job.
Well, I still can't believe that people watch the dub.
Anyway, let's get into our basic thoughts.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty, well, one might ask, what did I think of Demon Slayer? And I'm not going to try and pronounce the full title, because I know even less about Japanese than you do.
Yeah.
What did I think about it? Well, having just finished it, like, a few hours ago, well, I guess more than a few, but last night, I kind of have kind of a mixed feeling about it. I don't know why. This is the first anime like season that I've ever watched all the way through. Most of the time when I see anime, it's usually a movie and not a show. I just haven't really gotten...
It's pretty much just Ghibli.
Yeah, I was about to say pretty much all of my anime experiences from Ghibli. But seeing like another anime show hasn't really like hooked me in enough that I would want to see a whole season, you know? I mean, besides like Death Note, which we're in the middle of right now, which I feel like we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this. I mean, big surprise, I liked one of the most popular anime like to come out in the past couple years. So, I mean, I should have guessed by its popularity that it's a pretty digestible show.
Yeah.
Which it is. It's a fun show to watch. The animation is really cool. I feel like most people who have even seen one episode will say that. They incorporate 3D and with the 2D in a pretty interesting and effective way.
Yeah.
It doesn't pull you out like it would in a lot of other contexts.
Right.
Actually, the landscape shots where they use 3D are pretty dope. The fight choreography for most of the action scenes is like surprisingly good, and I don't know if you heard the Discord notification.
Wow, he didn't silence his cell phone.
No, I didn't. Getting Discord notification.
In the studio, getting Discord notification.
I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, yes, the choreography, very good. Not to mention the cinematography, too. I mentioned that the animation looked nice, but like all of the shot compositions are really nice as well. Outside of just a visual, it has a really compelling like start to the show, like a really good premise for a show.
Yeah.
And the main character is suited to the world that like he's placed in very, very, very well. And I have a feeling that's like the main reason the show works as well as it does. It's basically, I know this is kind of a weird analogy, but I said he was like a Paddington protagonist where he just does no wrong. Yeah, he's like the moral. He's like the moral compass for the entire.
If you've seen both, it does make sense.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like it's one of those protagonists where he just always does the right thing, even though he's in kind of a messed up world.
Yeah, he's kind and polite, and even though the world's not right, it gets a little better.
Exactly. That's more what I'm going for. Which is, like I said, a nice contrast to the universe they stick him in. But I don't know what else to mention. I mean, like I said, the voice cast is really good. I have a couple weird complaints about some of the pacing in some of the episodes. And a couple of the characters can be annoying at times, but other than that, it's a lot better than most other anime like shows that I've tuned into.
You've seen like
for a couple episodes of like 3 anime. I'm not speaking from a lot of experience here, but I enjoyed it more than those.
And just a little side note, I forgot to mention this. I think because like IMDb didn't have it listed as like anything, like they didn't have any crew listed on there.
Mm-hmm.
But Haru Sotozaki, I think is how you say his name, is the main director for the series. He has a directing credit on all 26 episodes. So shout out to him. There are a lot of directors, pretty much a director for each different episode.
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't list the directors in the episode description because there's like so many of them.
But he has like a directing credit for all 26.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, I guess that basically sums up my thoughts on it. What do you say, Micah?
What do I think of Demon Slayer? You know, Demon Slayer is honestly probably one of the best anime I've watched. I've watched a decent amount of anime. I wouldn't call myself like an expert on the topic,
No.
but I have seen quite a few of especially the more popular anime. And Demon Slayer probably is, I would call, the most visually interesting of any anime I've seen. And I know that's like there's a lot of really nice looking anime out there, but I love their use of colors in this show so much, and their use of like their 3D and stylized art works really well. I really like the main character. I really like some of the side characters.
Some of the side characters.
There is a character, and we'll get to him. He very much annoys me, but you know, he isn't in the show that much. But no, I really like the world that they build and the world building that they have, and how it kind of immerses you into this as they get more deep into it, and then kind of pulls you out and every once in a while to be like, hey, this is like not normal. If that makes sense at all.
I mean, that kind of makes sense if you've seen the show, but without the show context, like, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It gets a really good job of investing you into the individual little arc things
Yes.
that they have, and then pulling you back out to kind of breathe for a minute.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think it's pretty decently well paced throughout. I love the action. The voice acting is really good. The character design is great.
Yeah, I didn't even mention the
and,
character design. Like, the costume design and character design is fantastic in this.
I think I really enjoy it. That's what I'll leave that with.
Well, there you go. I guess we'll go ahead and get into the main discussion now then, since they know what we think, Micah.
They know all.
They know our
think.
thoughts. All right, so do you have a good question to kick us off with, Micah?
Good question.
Wow.
So, you know, since this is a TV show, you know, let's shake it up a little bit.
It is indeed a TV show, Micah.
What is your favorite episode? Which it's actually kind of funny, because if you go on Letterboxd and look at the reviews for this on Letterboxd, like everything has like the same episode cited as the best episode.
I mean, it's because it is the best episode. Like, honestly, if you just chopped out that episode and just like, I mean, it would lose a lot without the context of the show, but it would still be fantastic. Like, if you were just to pluck that out of the show and just watch that. Episode 19 is the one we're talking about. It's really, really good.
Yeah, episode 19 is kind of like the culmination of one of the big battles. I would say the biggest battle of the first season. And like and I don't know, it's a really good episode.
It's a really good episode.
I think I would probably cite it as the best episode and probably my favorite, but I hate saying that. Like,
because everyone says that.
I'm trying to think of like another episode that I thought was like really good. Obviously,
I mean, if I had to pick another one, I would probably cite like episode 17 or something as like my favorite.
Yeah, episode 17 was really good.
But like it would be between 17 and 19.
Dang, what am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking of.
I would say that whole like the mountain stuff was probably my favorite section of the whole series, or at least the whole season.
I was about to say the whole series
isn't out yet.
Mike is speaking for the whole series.
I wonder when they're gonna release season 2.
I saw a trailer for it while I was getting the art for this. I think it said it would release sometime this year.
Ooh, nice.
So,
Like, yeah, I'm not sure there are really, like, that many standout episodes. I liked,
I mean, like, the mansion one is really good.
Which mansion one? They go to a lot of mansions.
Okay, well, the one where he's fighting in the rotating room, where they first introduce the boarhead guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's also where they introduce the orange guy, too.
Yeah, Zetsu and Inosuke.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the orange guy and the boar guy. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty fair, like, I'd say that was good. I would say I really liked,
That'd probably be my top three,
I
actually.
like the episodes, not when they're fighting the demons, when they first get to the one town, like I think it's Tanjiro's
Wait, which town?
first
The beginning?
first mission, I
Oh, yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. No, that is his first mission.
Whatever one is the one where he runs into the doctor and
Oh, no, that's the second one, I think.
yeah, because I know
Yeah.
Inosuke and Zetsu aren't there yet.
But yeah, I don't remember.
I really like that series of episodes though.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know. It lacked a bit more. It lacked a bit of the oomph that the mountain one has. Like a lot of the pacing of it in the fights, anyway.
And this time through, I didn't like it as much like the first time I watched it, and like I said, I watched through the show twice.
Yeah.
I liked the little aftermath episodes a lot more, like the rehabilitation training episodes. I rather enjoyed this time around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that was is a pretty fair runaround of that question. What about you? Do you have a question?
Um. What to what to ask as a question for this show? What did you think of, like, I mean, we've already talked about the general aesthetic of it, but what did you think of, like, the costume design in the actual show? Because I think it's actually, I mean, I haven't watched that many anime, like, shows anyway.
Yeah, I mean, anime
And it's,
is pretty notorious for having really like extravagant character design and costume design
Yeah.
for each individual character. And I would say this does that as well. But I like how they go about doing it, because this is set in the quote unquote real world. Like
Yes.
it's not like obviously the real world, but like it's set in 19th century Japan.
Actually, the only reason I bring this up is because, like, the 12 like highest ranking guys
Crap,
in the, I don't remember the
I
title.
remembered their name and now
Yeah, I don't remember the title for that group, but the 12 people at the end of the show that are the highest ranking swords people in the Demon Slayer Corps.
Hashira,
Yeah,
the 12 Hashira.
I thought there, like, it felt a little field. Good job. It felt a little like out of place. I don't know why. Like their designs and costumes, but I don't know. Like, it could just be that since we're with lower ranking Demon Slayer members, they might just not have as gaudy of wear.
Yeah, so I think that's really how it is, and I feel like it's like that for a lot of anime. Like as like the characters themselves get more powerful and everything, they usually fall more into their aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like I think like I don't know, because
It's not really, it's not like a criticism or anything. I just thought it was something.
the Hashira are interesting because like they break them down into like their own like little categories of what they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I think it's kind of just a typical like anime thing to kind of make your characters very over the top in one specific thing. So like getting everything to go with that, both their personality and their clothing and everything.
Yeah.
And with that, I think they all look pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I just thought about mentioning it though, because like everyone looks pretty normal in the show, like including the boar-headed guy. But like they just stood out in my mind, like as.
But yeah, I was actually gonna mention I really like the costuming for like the main four. Like I like how much it's like very simple but also very unique for each character.
It seems pretty iconic, Micah.
Right? Like just all of the looks are like really like you're like, dang, it's that character. Even Zetsu, which I hate him. I really like his look with all of like the yellow and everything, and I think his sword looks awesome. And yeah, I think that's interesting too, because like each of their sword kind of like plays into their own aesthetic, which kind of makes me wonder, like with like the Hashira, like when did they choose their whole aesthetic?
Yeah,
that
really.
they have these really unique swords.
I mean, the sword design in this, I'm a sucker for a cool sword.
Right? No, the swords in this are awesome.
Very cool.
There's a question.
What?
What's your favorite sword?
I was thinking about asking that, but then I didn't know what my answer would be.
I think I have a tie between
Okay.
my two favorite sword designs.
Are you gonna say the flower sword?
The butterfly sword.
Okay, yes, but it has like a flower on it.
Yes, the butterfly flower insect sword or whatever you call it. I think it's a really cool design. I think it's cool because like if you've seen it, it has like the tip of what would be the sword blade, and then it dips down and has like no blade all the way through, and then picks up right at the end, and it's just a really cool looking sword, and it's used by one of my like favorite like. I don't know what you'd call her.
What?
Besides, like, I guess just a Shira, like
I mean,
side character.
yeah,
I don't
she's
know.
a side character.
Like one of the main adult side characters. She's one of my favorites, and I really like the way she uses her sword when she doesn't really have the strength of a lot of the other characters.
You know, if I didn't watch this with you, I would have been like that would be Micah's favorite.
Wow. And then my like tied for that would probably be Inosuke's swords, and I don't really know why.
Yeah, I was gonna say Inosuke's swords.
Like like the little ridges in them and everything, and like the fact that he just like wraps them up. I think it looks really cool and fits his aesthetic very well.
But then again, Inosuke is like my third favorite character.
Yeah, probably same because
So-
like Tanjirō, Nezuko.
Yeah, I was about to say Tanjirō, Nezuko, Inosuke. Pretty simple
Yeah.
ranking.
Speaking of which, I was actually going to ask.
Yes.
What is your favorite character?
Wow.
But I'm
I mean,
guessing Tanjirō.
Yeah, I mean, like if we're not talking Tanjiro, it's or Nezuko because
Because those are like those are like the main characters.
I'd probably go in Nezuko, just because like
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like Inosuke is like
or
one of
Inosuke, yes.
Inosuke is like one of the only like because there are really only 4 characters they give a lot of
Yeah.
time in the show, and Zetsu is like really annoying. He's that character that we were mentioning earlier, and I actually want to talk about him more a little bit later.
Yeah.
But like Inosuke, like works really well with Tanjiro as a character.
I was about to say I would have taken a show with just the two of them, like
Yeah,
just
same,
walking
like-
around.
Like even if Nezuko wasn't there, and even especially if Zetsu wasn't there.
Wow.
Like they just have really good chemistry as a team, and like the way they like are
They got a good dynamic.
like the way they're different from each other and the way they play off of each other and essentially make each other better in battle, especially really works well and is really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And in terms of characters who yell a lot, Inosuke's really not that bad.
It's true.
Usually he only yells like when he's about to kill somebody.
Which I mean that happens pretty often.
But yeah, what do you think? What do you think of
What do I
of
think?
legendary Zetsu?
Just as a character.
Yeah,
like,
as like overall character.
honestly, like I didn't like him very much at the beginning, but honestly, like I don't mind him. I don't mind his existence in the show. I don't really get why they felt the need to put him in the show, but like I enjoy his singular episode. Like I said, episode 17, the one where
Yeah.
he pretty much dies, is one of my favorite episodes in the show. But like him outside of that episode, he's kind of annoying.
Yeah, what kills me about that episode though is like he's really annoying, and I mentioned this of course to you while we were watching the show. Like he's really annoying when he comes in, and you know, it's all based around the fact like as a character, he's always whiny and scared because he like hates himself and he doesn't think he's good enough to do anything. So that's the root of his character, and they get to that in episode 17.
Exactly.
And, you know, he ends up, I feel like he was, like, going to grow. And I know they're not going to completely, like, 180 a character. That's not really how character growth works. But, like, after he does, like, this big, like, really cool thing, has this series of flashbacks, fights this demon, almost dies, but, like, ends up, like, staying alive. Like, he does all of this, and then when he comes back, because, like, it just kind of cuts off after that, because he's not with Tanjirō, so he's not really the main focus of what's happening. And when he comes back in, like, the hospital and everything, he's even more annoying. Like, I don't know. Like, I hate, like I would cite probably my least favorite scene in the whole show is that scene when he comes to do the rehabilitation training for the first time. I hate that scene so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they, like, turned up his yelling and annoyingness even more. How did they manage? And I don't know, it kind of bothers me. Because, like, yeah, I agree. Like, after episode 17, like, you know, you kind of get a feel for his character.
Exactly.
And you're like, yeah, and he's not the worst of the worst. He's just kind of annoying sometimes. But then he comes back and he's even more annoying.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, he didn't bother me as much after they added some depth, if you will, to his character.
Yeah.
I didn't find him as annoying, but, like, yeah, he's a little annoying-ish in the final, like, final third of the show.
Yeah, and, like, if you haven't watched the show, by the way, he's annoying because he yells and whines about literally everything. Like, he just yells. I don't think there are, like, 5 lines from him that aren't yelling. And it's either when he's, like, super serious or he's about to yell.
Oof.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think that's the most, like, weird character of the show. And, you know, you mentioned, like, why they put him in there, and again, like, I think a lot of it goes back to this is obviously, like, an adaptation from a manga.
Yeah.
So
which, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but, like, the two side characters, quote unquote, do serve as interesting foils for the main character.
Yeah. I was gonna say, though, that I think characters like that work a lot better in manga form.
Yeah.
Especially when they're not actually, audibly yelling all the time.
I was about to say, in manga, I probably wouldn't actually have that much, like, to say about him. Like, yeah, he's a pretty cool character, actually.
Yeah. But, like, because it's an anime and you have to listen to him yell, like, he just gets really annoying.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're in, like, a book form, you can handle it a lot better, too. Like, with individual details, with how he's delivering the lines and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention his character, because he was definitely, like, a standout of the show.
I mean, he's actually a pretty interesting, like, character, one of the most interesting in the show. But, like, yeah, he's an interesting character on paper.
But he's still
in the show. Like, in the show, I'm like, okay, I kind of want him to go away, though. You know,
like yeah, like when they ditch him on the mountain, I was like, silence.
Silence.
I mean, like, Inosuke's still yelling, but, like, that's different. Yeah. Anyway, do you have a question? Because that was my question about Zetsu.
I don't know if I actually have another question. I'm assuming I thought I saw you pull up a list earlier. I'm assuming that.
Yeah, I was trying to put together kind of a list of questions, because TV shows.
Well, then just pull another one off.
TV shows are a little harder to talk about than movies.
I was about to say, like, we're used to talking about movies, and this is, like, a whole lot longer than a movie.
I was going to ask what your least favorite episode of the show was.
One that I'll probably, like, skip in the future.
Yeah, one that you would probably try to avoid on a rewatch.
Do you already have an answer? Let me look at the show episode listing.
Kind of, but it kind of is interesting, because the episode that I would maybe skip would be, like, leading into the mansion fight where they first meet Zetsu.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a filler episode, and you just kind of have Zetsu, like, accosting a woman
Yeah.
who's engaged to somebody. And yeah, like there's pretty much nothing about that episode that I like.
I mean, I could see that.
But like again, it's not like aggressively awful.
Dang, I really do like the first few episodes in this show.
No, the
It's
first
quite
few
good.
episodes kick this off so nicely, and that's actually one thing I wanted to mention. I forgot about it. I thought about it while I was watching.
Okay,
the show.
while I'm looking for at least favorite.
while you're looking for at least favorite, is that like the way this show starts off, it stays like very serious in tone. And like I really liked the seriousness of tone. As I mentioned at the beginning, it is a TV mature show, and it's really violent.
Oh yeah,
And there's a lot of blood and a lot of gore and a lot of like dark things happen in the show. And I really liked that it kept a very serious, still like uplifting tone with Tanjirō, but like it wasn't like goofy. And then you added in the main side characters, Inosuke and Zetsu, and for as much as I like even Inosuke, they add a certain goof to the show that I think is very, especially Zetsu, like specifically, because he's mainly used for quote unquote comedic relief,
quote unquote comedy. Wow.
And like I don't know, like it's a very odd thing how it kind of changes the tone of the show a little bit when they get added.
Yeah, it does. Which I mean, like, it does change the show, like the tone of the whole thing, but like it doesn't. I wouldn't say it messes it up.
Yeah,
in any
I'm
way.
not sure if it's for
very
the better
interesting,
or
yeah.
for the worst. It's just like
Different.
it's different. Yeah, it changes quite a bit because I really thought when I first watched through that it was going to be a very like self-serious, not in a bad way self-serious, but self-serious like drama, action, horror show.
Which I would have been totally fine with.
Same. And then
like the first few episodes, I was like, oh, this is about to be so dope.
And then like they added in those characters, and like I think the biggest example of that is like in a lot of anime, especially like comedy anime, they'll do a lot of after bits, they'll flash these little like cards across the screen just to kind of like cut from one thing to the next. And the biggest example of what I'm talking about in this show is like they added those like some of those cards in on the episodes that get goofy enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so weird. And I think they do a good job balancing the tone, but it's still kind of jarring to watch them go from like, ooh, goofy, goof, to murdered 15 children with their corpses lying all around and blood stained everywhere.
Yeah. I think I finally decided. I think if I were to rewatch the show, I would probably either skip episode 11,
Which was the episode I was
the
mentioning.
one you mentioned, where they first introduce what's his face, or where is it? Yes, episode 21.
Oh yeah, 21. Is that the one? Is that specifically like while they're still in the woods, like wrapping everything up with
No.
Ashira, or are they back all the way to the mansion by then?
This is the mansion, like when they first introduced the 12 people.
And that's interesting, because like when they first did that, and I even mentioned to Robbie, I was like, oh boy, here it comes. Here's the part where they spend like 2 whole episodes debating of whether they're gonna let Nezuko live, even though you know they're gonna let Nezuko
exactly,
live.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't as bad on like a rewatch.
No, it wasn't dreadful. It's just like one of the weaker episodes.
Yeah.
Like it's a fine episode, I guess, but it's pretty boring in comparison to the rest of the show.
It's kind of boring. It doesn't add much besides introducing all of the new like the new characters that they add.
Exactly.
And then like it like by the next episode they actually do stuff. Like you get the one guy comes in and he stabs Nezuko at the end of that episode.
I was about to say, even it kind of, that what I'm describing kind of leaks into 22 as well. Like they resolved that whole thing in episode 23.
I actually liked the scene, like with like them testing Nezuko. I thought that was a fun scene.
No, that phenomenal editing as well.
No, and like I really liked the cinematography in that scene too. There's this shot where it almost looks like a a fisheye lens, even though obviously it's not. It's an animated show, but it's made to look like a fisheye lens.
It's an anthropomorphic lens
with like the guy's arm bleeding there, and like Nezuko like standing there all dramatically. And I don't know, that shot really stood out to me. But there's a lot of really cool uses of like quote unquote camera, like different camera techniques in the show.
Yeah, no, like I said, the cinematography in it, like the composition is almost always like really fantastic. So,
which is actually really refreshing because like I've been watching Hunter x Hunter recently, and for as much as I like Hunter x Hunter, that show is very not like, it doesn't change at all, like really, like visually throughout the entire extent of the show. It changes from like bright to dark to bright to dark, and that's the only change of like the looks of the entire show, and they never do anything interesting with the camera. So like watching something, especially, and I've always loved animated stuff using like dynamic cameras and everything, watching something like that use that was very nice, especially in 2D. Because, like, you know, you get stuff like that occasionally in 3D animation, like in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. But hey, don't question until you know what I'm talking about with that handheld tracking shot through the house.
Oh my gosh. It's one shot.
It's one of my favorite shots in the whole movie.
One shot.
One perfect shot, Remy.
Sure. Why not?
But yeah, no, I think this show, like, throughout the entire, like, extent of the show never gets, like, visually dry.
I would argue around episodes 9 and 10, where they're fighting the two demons. That honestly, we mentioned that the big tonal shift comes in at, like, episode 11. I was actually worried that like it was gonna fall into what I've seen of Hunter x Hunter, where it just all feels like really dramatic fights where people are just like bleeding on the ground every 5 seconds.
Like, and that is one of like the biggest problems with Hunter x Hunter, and I was also worried about like this, like almost every fight becomes the same thing where it's all like very like, oh no,
I can't possibly win.
Injured, oh no, this thing happens, oh no, how are they gonna do it?
And then they do it.
And then they do it. Yeah. And like I said, no offense to Hunter x Hunter, it is still my favorite anime, Hunter x Hunter, though I would call Demon Slayer better. Like they kind of got out of that, and I think a lot of that is like the way they do the animation of the fights is so freaking visually interesting.
Yeah, they
always use such like incredible colors and really interesting animation with like very thick lines, which I really like. Like a lot of times in anime, they'll keep very thin lines for everything to kind of give it almost like a more realistic quote unquote look. But when they do any of like their specific forms and everything, they give everything like very thick lines, very poppy colors.
It is nice, yeah.
And it really gives a cool contrast to, especially when they're fighting like on the mountain, when they're just like in a plain gray dark forest.
Yeah.
And then like when they fight Yuri, or not Yuri, Ruri. Yeah, Ruri?
I don't know who you're talking about, Mike.
Is this his name, right?
Wait, which episode? What are you talking about? On the mountain?
Yeah, the main 12, whatever you call them. Rui.
Yes.
It's, yeah. Yuri. I said Yuri first. Okay. Close. But yeah, when they fight him, like, I love the animation of his power once he goes, like, full on with it. And I honestly don't know how they animated that to get it to look like that. But, like, again, episode 19. That episode, like, it pops so much visually. And I feel like if this show was, like, visually uninteresting, it would honestly kill some of the energy the show has going for it.
Yeah, a little bit. But, like, I feel like I mentioned this before. The main drive that they give to the main character feels so personal to you, even from, like, the first episode. Like, they do a fantastic job of getting you invested in the show from, like, the start. I feel like this show could probably be lacking in a few technical aspects, and people would still really like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the kind of show that would get, like, I mean, obviously it has, but, like, the kind of show that is a very, like, show that, like, would hook just about anybody in. It does a really good job of getting you emotionally invested in Tanjirō and Nezuko, and even in some of, like, the side characters as it goes on. And it does it in a pretty interesting way. It uses flashbacks very sparingly, to an extent, because anime is very notorious for flashing back to, like, everything. Like, every 5 seconds a character will say something and it will flash back to what they're talking about.
They'll look down and see, like, a dime on the ground and, like, flash back to, like, 2 times in their childhood where someone gave them a dime or something.
Yeah, so, like, that's a very, like, typical anime thing. And while they obviously, like, they still use flashbacks in this quite a bit, I think they use, like, their timing and specific length of use of flashbacks is really well done.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is some of the best uses of flashback I've seen, like, in any piece of media, because it's always to add emotional context to something and never just, like, technical context.
Like yeah, a lot of shows, Hunter x Hunter, My Hero Academia, even, like, Naruto, they use flashbacks a lot of times to explain, like, specific technical things,
exactly,
of how somebody did something, and they'll explain, like, every detail of a fight.
You're just like, who cares?
And that's cool from one aspect for people who are, like, long-time watchers of the show and like to watch, like, fights be picked apart. But for people just, like, coming in and even, like, sometimes just, like, watching the show in general, it can get very tiresome to, like, not just, like, have a fight, but, like, every time you have a fight it stops and is like, what, how did they do that? Well, let's explain with 5 flashbacks and an infographic.
Exactly. But yeah, no, Demon Slayer always uses flashbacks to punctuate an emotional, like, turning point.
Yeah, and
whether it's for, like, the main, like, demon bad guy they fight, where he has this whole flashback sequence, like, during the lull in the fight and after, like, the fight is over. And also you have, like, Nezuko's big flashback sequence near the end of the show, which is really good.
And, like, it's interesting too, like, because they give almost every main demon they fight, like, a emotional flashback. And, you know, it's all for, like, the narrative purpose of, like, you know, getting you on Tanjiro's side when it comes to demons. But I think that's part of what makes, what was it, like, 2021, I think? Like, somewhere in there. So annoying almost to watch, because the entire show has been spending all of its time up to that point trying to get you to be aware of Tanjiro's side of things. Like, that demons are pretty much always in the show, like, they're sympathetic creatures.
I was about to say, demons are presented in a more tragic light than a scary light.
Usually, like, all of the main demons had horrible lives as humans and now even worse lives as demons.
Yeah, that... I will say that that's probably the biggest reason, which, I mean, is a testament to the writing of the show. Like, they get you that much on his side, that episode 21 just feels kind of pointless.
Yeah, like from the viewer's standpoint, there is no way that Tanjiro could be wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
And all of these, like, Hashira, who are, like, supposed to be, like, the big main 12 most powerful swordsmen, like, ever, they're like, he must be insane.
He must be insane.
And, like, people are like, she's never eaten anybody ever, and they're like, I doubt it.
I don't think so.
And, like, one of the, like, former Hashira and, like, current Hashira are like, no, he's telling the truth, and all of them are like, I doubt it. And you're like, oh my god,
he's been driven insane too.
You're like, what the heck? So that's what really makes those episodes so tiresome, really, to get through.
Yeah.
Well, like, I think the new characters they introduce are still, like, interesting. It's just like, oh my gosh, we know that Tanjiro is right. We know they're going to let them through.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think it is a good testament to their use of flashbacks and the writing of the show in general, of how like invested you get in Tanjiro's point of view, to the point where like there's no way you could really think he's wrong.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, and I also like how like slowly they kind of progressed with like getting you invested in the demon side of things, because at the beginning of the show, every demon like he came up against was like so crazy that they wouldn't even talk to him.
Yeah.
And like throughout the final selection and the first couple demons and everything that he faced, they were all like just like no reason, just like blah. But like they
Well, I mean, the first big demon in the selection is really the big, like, I think that's the first time we get a demon with like a backstory.
Yeah, but that's still even rather short, and
Yeah.
they kind of wrap that up and give like what's his face? I don't remember how to say his name.
The sensei's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His like little character arc thing complete with the children and everything.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Like I like how self-contained they keep their little arcs in the show.
Yeah, no, it's a really smartly like tight paced show when it comes to the different arcs they have.
But like as time goes on, you get less and less of like the demons who are like, haha, I will kill everybody, and ha 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 ha, I'm amazing, eat you, and more like, you know, like you get like slowly as it goes on, he talks to more of them, they start to reason with him more, he sees more tragic backstory, and then they introduce the main demon bad guy and the doctor in like the same episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. Like I think that was really well timed and really good like split off for the show,
Oh, definitely.
to show you like the worst of the worst and best case scenario of how demons could be. And no, I just think like the overall progression of the story is really well paced. Like save for, of course, like a couple episodes here and there, like individually can be like, wow, that's kind of filler-y.
Yeah.
But I think like the overarching story is really well paced throughout the episodes.
Yeah. And the main bad guy is a very like looming threat,
Right?
for the entire show.
Mr. Michael Jackson.
The Michael Jackson demon.
Look up this guy. How do you spell his name?
Demon Slayer main bad guy. If you just look that up, he'll pop up.
He's Michael Jackson.
He literally just looks like Michael Jackson. I don't know how I feel about that.
But yeah, it's interesting, like how much, because like you said, he's a very looming threat. They really integrated him into like every bit of the threat. Like he is the first demon, and he has his effect over every other demon.
I was about to say, once you
face.
get to like episodes 6 and 7, where he first takes on like the demon in the swamp thing or whatever it is,
The bog.
the bog, yes. Once you see how fearful even like a demon who was like pretty powerful is like terrified of him.
Like the moment he mentions like his name, he's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was about to say it does a good job, and then like immediately next episode we see just how big of a threat he is,
And like
to everyone.
and like then like with that, even like giving him like a wife and a daughter, like that, the shock and the twist with Tanjirō and everything, he's like and I don't know, I just think like the bad guy, for as little as he is in this, because he's really not, he doesn't have a lot of screen time. They do a really good job of making him kind of one of those like mastermind big threats that you'll get to eventually in the show, but it'll definitely take a while. But like he's always a big threat. And even like, even when they use like him as a threat against one of the demons they're fighting, it still just goes even more to show how much of a hold he has over everybody.
I was about to say, I think almost every like antagonistic thing they encounter like past episode 7 is like a result of him.
Right. And like specifically the one demon with the the bouncy balls or whatever.
Yes.
Like the way she dies, like really, because you don't really realize how much.
You're like, okay, so he sent someone after them, like when?
Like, yeah, whatever. And like, you don't realize how much of like a hold he specifically has over people, but then like all what's her face had to do was say his name, and then like she dies like more brutally than like almost anybody else in the show.
Yeah. But yeah, no. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know there was more things I wanted to specifically talk about.
What do you want to talk about, Micah?
Let's talk about Nezuko.
Nezuko. Heck yeah.
Nezuko. Who doesn't like Nezuko?
I mean, I feel like you, if the show is making you align your views on demons in this universe with Tanjirō, then the show is definitely making you like Nezuko.
Right? I feel like you can't not like Nezuko watching the show.
Yeah.
I did actually want to mention, though, because it's kind of weird to me, and I don't know. Like, I still really like Nezuko as a character, but it still always feels really weird with how much they're, like, trying to show the human side of demons and everything, that, like, with keeping the muzzle on Nezuko all the time, she never has any lines.
I thought she has, like, some lines.
She has some lines,
yeah.
obviously, but, like, usually they're, like, in flashbacks or the one, like, dream ESP or whatever thing.
ESP.
The way she just like communicates to Tanjirō, like she only has a couple lines in the whole show, and that always kind of bothers me. Like I feel like she should be more of a, I don't know, deciding force in the show.
Yeah, I wish she was a bit more involved. Like you don't even see her for a lot of the episodes.
Yeah,
actually.
she's usually just stored away in her box waiting for Tanjirō to like find a cure. She occasionally pops out and helps fight, but like,
which I mean, in the show they're like, yeah, she needs to rest so she doesn't have to eat people, you know?
Yeah, like they give a good explanation for why she's never in it, but it just kind of bothers me that she's like the main, like one of the main characters and like the main female character, and like she just doesn't really do.
I was about to say she's there more as like an emotional anchor for Tanjirō instead of like another main character.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping like as they go on they kind of make her more of like a main character.
I was about to say, because the episodes where she's in them a lot, like they rock.
No, yeah, she's a great character. She's really fun to watch, and like she's a really cool play off of like the Tanjiro style character. But like I just need her to like make more decisions and not just like, yeah, she's like funny in the show and like because like 90% of the time she's just kind of flopping around because she has to relax all the time, shrinking this way and that, being tiny Nezuko in a box.
Bro, the tiny Nezuko stuff is really funny though.
Right? No, like it's really funny and it's really like endearing to the characters, but I want like Nezuko to be more of like a...
I'm hoping that, like, in the movie, which, I mean, did we mention the movie? Yeah, the whole reason we're doing this season of Demon Slayer is because the movie that's a sequel to this is coming to America, like, in a couple weeks. Next week? Next week, yeah.
Kind of, like, because we leave in a week, so yeah, kind of.
But, like... I'm hoping she'll be more involved, like, from this point onward, now that she is a demon slayer in the show.
Right, now that they actually legitimized her and she doesn't have to hide all of the time.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm hoping in the movie she's going to be a big active force.
And that's actually one thing for me that I was thinking of while watching this show. I was like, if and when they ever, like, actually change her back into a human... with the way they've written her in this first season, that would be so jarring because she's not really played as a human, quote-unquote, character.
I wouldn't say that.
Like, no,
I wouldn't go that far.
She's, like, definitely, like, a human character, but I'm saying, like, she doesn't, like I said, she hardly ever talks, she hardly ever helps with decisions. So, like, making her a full-blown character, I don't know what she thinks or, like, has opinions on anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, if they just, like, made her human in one of the things, I feel like it would be very jarring with the current situation. So I'm hoping, being that was just season 1, that with the movie in season 2, we kind of transition into more, like, her starting to grow more towards, like, what Dr. What's-Her-Face has, where she's essentially human, but like also she's got some like demon abilities.
I was about to say I want them to have like a dynamic like Inosuke has with him, you know, like where they're more of a duo rather than like Tanjirō and with Nezuko in the box.
with Nezuko in a box.
Yeah.
That's really that's honestly one of my biggest, like, it's not really a problem with the show.
I don't really think it's a problem
because like it's season 1 and like
season
they're
1.
just setting everything up. This entire show, besides the first 2-year time jump, takes place within like a month. So I don't have a problem with it in the show. I just like that's just a really big like hope I have for the show going forward. I hope they don't leave her just as like the funny box girl.
Funny box girl. Oh my gosh, I literally almost died when she jumped out during the mountain part. I was like, oh my god,
she's still tiny.
Yes. I swear.
Yeah. No, I really like Nezuko though.
I mean, like I said, if this show is making you sympathize with demons, then it's like brainwashing you to like Nezuko.
Right. Are there any other like big talking points you can think of?
What's your favorite like section of the show? Because you kind of got like the opening,
then you have like
and
him
then
starting as a demon slayer.
Yeah, you have like that first little stretch with his first mission. I mean, I guess you could tack on like episodes.
Yeah, I would
8,
tack
9,
that
10,
on until they even get to like the mansion.
Yeah, I was about to say, and then you have the mansion, which is pretty fun.
Which is with the tone shift, and they add in the new characters.
And then of course the mountain, like 15 through 20, and then you got the epilogue. Essentially, I would consider the epilogue.
Yeah, I would call it an epilogue. And kind of set up for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say the mountain is probably my favorite part. It feels kind of cheap, but it is kind of like the build of everything. Like the first section is kind of building up Tanjirō and Nezuko. Mm-hmm. The second section is introducing the new characters and building their dynamics.
And the universe too.
And the universe. Like there's a lot of setup happening in a lot of this. And then like the third section with the mountain is kind of a payoff of all of these dynamics and setups, and an even more expansion of the universe.
I was about to say, like, all of the characters basically get their shining moments, like, in the mountain arc, if you will. I don't know if you can call it an arc, but still. The mountain section.
The mountain section, yeah. And, like, they all get shining moments. It's got episode 19, which is kind of, like, the big culmination for Tanjirō. And, like, I don't think you could call it not the best of the show.
Yeah. And, I just wanted to bring it up.
Rory as a like bad guy is a really cool like or antagonist. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of him as a character. Like the whole like family thing. I was like, eh. But, like, I wasn't crazy about it, but, like, it does work well in the show.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. I really like the way they end his,
No, I really like his ending. Like, I really like that final, like, section, but I wasn't crazy. Like, if I could mark, like, a least favorite villain, I would probably choose him just because I'm not a huge fan of, like, his whole motivation or anything like that.
Yeah, well, he kind of lost, like, the whole point was he kind of lost sight of his motivation.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I didn't find him as interesting as some of the other villains or just even other characters in general in the show.
Yeah, I will say one thing though. I will comment one thing about that. I feel like they might like be writing themselves into a bit of trouble, because like he was one of the 12.
Whatever.
I don't remember.
It's
their
weird.
name.
It's weird that the Demon Slayer Corps and the main demon guy both have like their 12 go-to guy.
I think there might only be 9 for the. I think there might only be 9 Hashira, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I said 12 earlier because I get them mixed up.
I think it is 12.
But there might be 12. I don't know. But I forget what the demon group is called. The 12, whatever you call them. He's one of like them.
Michael Jackson's backup dancer.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's backup dancers. And like I feel like they made what's his face the main Hashira that you actually get to see, the one who has the connection with Tanjirō. They make him so powerful.
They really do.
He kills this guy in 1 second. He shows up, boom, he's dead.
Boom.
Like and I know like I know they even do an episode later, like with main bad guy man calling all of his lower ranks really weak and then killing half of them. Actually, pretty much all of them, but one. But like still, it feels kind of weird that these are like part of the theoretical 12, and he's just like, whoop.
Well, I mean, Tanjirō couldn't beat him.
Well, yeah, Tanjiro couldn't beat him, but still, it's kind of weird that like he comes in and like deflects his most powerful attack with like standing still, and then just slices off his head with no effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to bring up that, like, yes, he does kind of like encounter some of the most powerful like creatures in the entire universe within the first season.
Right, and I mean, like, obviously there's going to be a whole connection with his dad and whatever, and the earrings and everything. And, you know, like, the one character was like, you've encountered all these people, and we haven't even done that in, like, 20 years. It must be destiny. It must be and that's kind of how they say that. They're like, yeah, his father had connections, and now he's got connections.
But yeah, I wouldn't be worried about... I honestly, because they show how much more powerful, like, every other, like, more experienced demon slayer is. I'm not worried about like the power balance being off for the people he fights or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
They've done a pretty good job
like,
of balancing
a lot of shows will get like that. They'll make their enemies so hard that then like the main characters will have to like get insanely powerful, and then like any other enemy seems kind of pointless except weak for the one that they're going for specifically. And then once they beat that, the only thing the showrunners can really do is create a more powerful enemy. And it kind of gets like this whole like power vacuum kind of thing where you just keep on expanding and filling it up, and then getting bigger, and then filling it up and getting bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a thought that I had while watching.
I mean, I feel like a lot of anime shows can probably fall into that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of shows are very much, like a lot of popular anime shows especially, are very much in the concept of this kind of thing when they're in like this way, like a My Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter, like there is a villain that they have to defeat kind of thing. That they do very often fall into the, wow, I'm so weak against this person. Better get super powerful. Defeats the person. Wow, I'm super weak against this person. Better get super powerful. Even like Naruto does it. Like I feel like almost every anime I've seen anyway that has a very like fighter style anime, like it's based off of action, usually falls into that kind of thing.
I know there's like a word for animes like that, but I don't remember what it is. It's something Japanese. Who would have thought that the phrase would be something Japanese?
But yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much more to add. I feel like I've talked about like the main points I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, I don't really have any other big criticisms of the show. Like, it's a solid show, I will say.
I would call it a solid 4-star show, but somebody here gave it 3.5.
I gave it 3.5.
Explain. There you go. That's my question. Explain your 3.5. Explain.
I gave it a 7 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10.
Explain why.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm honestly, it's so close to being a 4, but I just don't know. I know that the show could be better than it is. But I don't know. Like, there seemed to be something holding it back. Like, yes, it's a very solid first season, but I feel like anything beyond this, where they don't have to worry about the setup and everything, could be a lot better, you know?
Yeah, but it could be a lot worse,
Yes,
too.
that is also true. And I mean, I'm honestly, after discussing it, I'm tempted to bump it up to a 4. Like, I really don't think there's a difference in our opinions, Micah.
Yeah, well,
I just think there's a difference in our like overall star rating standards.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just bothers me that you didn't give it a 4.
Yeah, I might bump it up to a 4. I don't know.
But yeah, that actually brings up an interesting thing, though, because I would say that the show does put itself right at a turning point in the show.
Yeah, I was about to say,
setting up stuff.
It could either go really, really good or really, really bad.
And I think that's interesting that they made it a movie, and I honestly think it's kind of a genius move to go make a movie be directly after the turning point of the show. Because, like, you can do different things with the movie, and I feel like you can have a very self-contained story that will kind of transition you into the, hey, we're now going with this instead of setting everything up.
They could introduce like a whole new tone or something with the movie. And have that be the standard for the rest of the show.
Interesting fact about the movie. I know we're going to do it maybe next week,
probably
maybe the week after.
Hopefully next week. That would be.
We might have to do it. We might have to do it the week after because of scheduling. Like, I don't think we'll be able to. Because what is next week?
I don't know. We could talk about this later.
Anyway, like, but the movie is actually the highest grossing movie of all time in Japan now, passing even like Spirited Away,
which is crazy.
Which is kind of crazy, but it's also like it goes to show like what a genius move it was to make a movie after this.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan, obviously, because they're like anime is a much bigger part of the culture in Japan than it is here. Hence why the two top highest grossing movies of all time are both anime.
Yeah.
But like, it's such a crazy, like, I don't know. I thought it was a weird idea, but after watching the show and thinking about the show and watching it again, it seems like such a genius move.
No, it was a pretty brilliant move, actually. And especially financially.
I'm like it did really well. I'm hoping it's good. It's got like a 3.9 average on Letterboxd, but again, most people who have watched it on Letterboxd are like anime stans.
Like I was about to say, like super fans of like the show, so of course they're probably gonna like it.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see once it gets its American release, A, if like anybody's gonna go watch it, and B, if if it'll be any good.
I really hope it's good,
because it could be really good. Or it could be really bad.
I have a feeling, I have this sinking feeling that it's just going to be like kind of mediocre, like just like one of the weaker episodes of the show is.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way too.
But like, even
I'm holding out my hopes.
Even so, maybe it'll have like a higher animation budget and they can do some cool stuff with it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. In 1 to 2 weeks.
I guess we'll go ahead and go into our closing thoughts.
Yeah. All right. Closing thoughts. Wrapping up our thoughts.
In a nice little bow. In a nice little wooden box, if you will.
I love how weird it is. Just thinking of like Nezuko in the box. So during some of the fights, especially.
I know, right? Like, I'm like, is she rattling around in there? Like, what's happening?
You give her a cushion or something.
It's like a padded box.
But anyway, let's close the thoughts.
Get like a jewelry pillow on the bottom.
I'll start. That opens up the question, Robbie. How small can she shrink?
I know, right? Maybe they'll explore that in the movie. But
maybe she'll become Ant-Man. I honestly don't think she can shrink outside of like not. Human lifespan like size, because she only goes adult and she only goes child.
Yeah,
like biggest, smallest.
Yes.
But anyway,
closing thoughts.
I think Demon Slayer is a really fun show that I'll hopefully come back to a lot. I've already watched it twice within like 2 months, and I didn't get tired of it at all. I'm really excited for new stuff to come with it, and it could be like it's right at a turning point. I think it was a great setup for what could be like a really, honestly, like probably one of my favorite shows ever if they like stick the landing of the kickoff of the show. And I'm really excited to see what happens. It's a really beautiful show, animation-wise. I really like the characters. It's really...
I would say story-wise, too.
And, I'm mostly just, like, excited when I think about the show. Like, I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited to watch it again. I really like the characters. And yes... I did I added it to my list to get an Inosuke mask.
You'll wake up one morning and he'll just be wearing it.
Just be standing over you, just wearing it.
He's gonna yell coming through every time he runs down a hallway.
Right. Gonna make metaphors about the springboards of life.
Exactly. The springboard catapulting him to greatness, yes.
Dude, he steps on the child. Tanjiro's like, what? And he's like, What?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
My closing
good.
thoughts.
Good show.
I believe in my review on Letterboxd I said solid stuff.
Solid stuff.
And I still stand by it. It is indeed a solid show. But like Micah said, a lot of the value of this season kind of hinges on whether or not the narrative will resolve in a nice way in later stuff.
Very much resolves, it revolves around the rest of the show.
Yeah, I was about to say, which I mean is good. That's a good thing if they do it well. But like I said, really the big standout moments here are like just the character moments that they've written are super effective and super investing, to me personally anyway. Episode 19 is so good. Episode 17 is really good too. Like both of those are, I would almost put them on the same level. They got breathtaking animation and really good uses of flashbacks in both of them.
Yeah, and really good character moment, like a payoff, I should say.
Not to mention, I'm glad to see a not as sexist anime on the whole.
Yeah.
Quite nice to see. But I mean, it was made in 2019, so I would hope it's not as sexist as a lot of the other anime.
That's why the best animes are just all guys, Remy.
Wow.
They don't have, they're not sex.
Yeah, I was about to say that is honestly one of my favorite aspects of this. Like, if I'm just speaking to it in the context of anime shows,
I feel like that's worse though.
I was about to say
all guys.
Oh yeah, no, that I do not agree with that.
No, that was definitely a joke.
Okay, I was about to say.
Like I said, I fully agree with you that this is one of it's an anime that actually has good female characters.
I was about to say, that's honestly one of the biggest reasons I don't like a lot of the other anime I've seen is they just are really sexist. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's a very cultural thing.
Yeah,
but
is.
Still, it's not something that I like.
I was about
usually
to say,
anime is very sexist.
It
very
me.
sexualizes its female characters. Yeah. And
I was just glad to have a cast of like male and female characters where no one is really overly sexualized at all. It's very nice.
Yeah, no, it's very nice.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy the show. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the movie brings. Cause what a movie, I'm so used to seeing this in show form. I don't know what's going to happen.
A movie. They're making a movie.
Although honestly, I said this while we were watching it, they could have just taken the mountain section and made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
But obviously they couldn't for reasons. But yeah, no, I really enjoy it. I may not have given it the 8 that Micah wanted me to give it. But it's really good. Especially I didn't even mention really the final training stuff. That has some of my favorite character moments are in the last few episodes of the show.
The last few episodes are really fun.
It's good stuff.
But yeah, that is one thing I forgot to mention was just that overall, and like I said, I've tried to dip my toes into the anime pool as much as possible while avoiding certain things in the anime pool. And it is very hard to find shows that aren't very sexist, especially older anime.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And obviously there are some good examples, and a lot of anime isn't terrible, but it is nice because this one really doesn't have hardly anything in it. Besides again, I find it a bit weird, and that's the main reason I mentioned Nezuko not speaking at all, because I feel again it makes me nervous for the fact that they'll treat her not as a normal character.
But I mean, like I said, it makes sense in the context of this. But I'm hoping going forward she'll be a bigger part of the dynamic.
But yeah, I like the not super over sexualized characters, the non-sexist nature of the way they have all of their female and male characters. They are all put on pretty darn equal.
Yeah, no, I was just bringing that up as a reason that I like this show over most of the other anime I've seen.
I think it's a really good thing to bring up because that is and it's not talked about a lot, especially among anime like watchers, because it's just kind of a part of the culture of anime that they like most people choose to try to ignore because it is so deep into a lot of the anime culture.
Just like real sexism.
So a lot of people who watch anime try to not bring it up, and they try to just like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that kind of sucks. But
which again isn't a great mindset to look at it with, but it is very nice to see a newer anime not have pretty much any of like problems that a lot of anime will fall into.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to bring it up. That's all. But yeah, I really enjoy the show. It's got, like I said, 2 really standout episodes for me that you should definitely go watch.
Just those 2.
Just those 2 episodes.
Have no context.
No context.
They'll be like, wow.
That was kind of weird, I guess.
But yeah,
yeah.
The show's for if you're going to watch it, the show is very, very bloody and gory. That's why it's TV mature. It's not TV mature for anything else, but
if you're old enough to watch Demon Slayer, I would highly recommend you go watch it. It's a good time.
You can watch it on Netflix.
Indeed.
You can watch it on Hulu.
Indeed.
And if you go to crunchyroll.com, you can watch it for free with ads.
I mean, like, I have a link down in the description on where a fully updated database of where you can watch it, no matter when you click on it. So
yeah, but like, if you get like, this is a cool little hack I've found. It's not really a hack; it's just how it is. If you go on computer or phone or tablet or whatever, and go to crunchyroll.com, you can watch pretty much anything they have for free with ads. And if you download the app on your mobile device, you can sign in and watch stuff free with ads.
Yeah.
Which I have done, which is very nice.
Yeah, there's almost no reason for you to not watch Demon Slayer unless you're a little squeamish around blood.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some mild profanity in there, but like it
would be like probably a TV, like a light TV 14 even.
Yeah, very light.
If they cut out the gore.
Yeah, if it obviously wasn't filled to the brim with gore, yes. But yeah.
Very good show.
Very good show. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with our what we watched segment.
Hopefully it'll be pretty short this week.
It'll be pretty short.
So for some context for maybe a first-time listener, the What We Watched section is just a section where we go over what we've watched since our last podcast episode.
What a wild concept.
What we've logged on Letterboxd. For those of you who don't know, Letterboxd is a movie review and like...
It's a social review platform kind of thing. It's like IMDb, but you can like follow people and like their reviews and stuff and comment.
Log movies, which is where we got the name recently logged from.
No. What?
So we're going all the way back to the 4th, which is when we watched Shrek 2.
Banger of a movie.
And going on to the 11th.
Heck yeah. We both watched the same thing on the 6th.
Yeah, we watched Paper House.
Yeah. Which, for those of you who don't know what Paper House is, it is an 80s movie, an 80s thriller horror movie kind of thing.
Starts with a P. Trash.
Trash. Yeah, it's a drama fantasy horror is what it's listed as. It's not very good on the whole, I would say. It just... I wouldn't even bother checking it out, honestly.
No, I wouldn't suggest it to like anyone. I gave it 2 stars.
I gave it a 1.5. Oh yeah, I'm rating stuff again.
Oh yeah, he started rating stuff
I feel like I said that last episode. Yeah, I did.
But yeah, it's quite something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paper House, pretty trash. Really weird. Wouldn't suggest.
Would not recommend. I watched a few things without Micah, so I guess I'll just mention those real quick. I watched Night in Fog, which is a 50s, like mid-50s documentary that takes place, well, I mean, it was filmed 10 years after, like, the concentration camps for World War II had been disbanded. And it's about the concentration camps. Very essential viewing, I would say, for just about anyone. Especially if you're curious, about World War II history or anything like that.
Yes.
Very good.
Content warning on that.
Yes.
It is about
extreme content warning. It's about concentration camps.
Like, if you don't know what happened at concentration camps, do some research.
Yes.
Do not just turn this on thinking it's going to be...
Oh, yes. No, it's a very, very taxing watch, I would say. But one of the, most mentionable
Good to watch, but extreme content
warning. I think everyone should see it. once they're old enough to see it, that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I watched Taurus, or Terrace, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. It's a 30s movie about a Olympic swimmer, or it's a short film, rather. It's pretty good. It's some pretty snappy editing, not to mention some very unique frame, like they messed with the frame rate and reversal of footage, that sort of thing, a lot, in a very effective way. And then I watched another, like my fourth Scorsese film, It's Not Just You, Murray, for the first time.
Murray.
I love how I pronounce it, Murray. Okay.
Murray.
This is probably my least favorite Scorsese film I've seen so far.
You want another joke?
Another joke?
Murray.
Murray. Yeah.
I think we've had enough of your jokes.
I mean, it has the same charm that a lot of his other short films I've seen have, but it wasn't quite as good as some of the other ones. I gave it a 3.5. And then I watched another film on the Criterion Channel, Micah. All of these have been Criterion Channel. I watched Traffic, my third Jacques Tati movie. Yes, third. And I really liked it. He has such a great grasp on how to build an atmosphere, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's by reusing the same 3 songs.
I very much recommend Traffic. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars.
Then on the 7th, we watched B Movie.
B Movie,
which was a great choice. It was a good life choice. B Movie is amazing, and there's nothing holding it back from being a 4-star movie.
I think there's something holding it back, but not much, because I gave it 3.5.
Very, very good.
Yeah, unironically good.
What was I working on?
It's a pretty funny movie.
I was working on my video, I guess.
Yeah, you were.
Because then I was about to say, because I turned on a bunch of movies that I didn't really have to watch.
Yeah.
Because next to that very same day, we watched Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine movie.
It's not great. I hadn't seen it in like a couple years.
It's got some iconic,
I wanted to rewatch
iconic characters, like a really good group of characters.
Yeah, its best
and then
thing is its characters, and then it doesn't really have too much else.
Yeah, it doesn't have too much else going for it.
I give it 3 stars.
Yeah, I also gave it 3 stars.
Then later that very same day, we watched The Meg for the first time.
Yeah, 2018, baby.
It was. I will agree with. I think it was Houston's review.
Yeah,
it's
probably.
It's just bad enough that it's not fun to watch, but not bad enough that it's like so bad
that
it's
you
good.
derive ironic enjoyment from it, kind of thing.
Like it's just so mediocre.
It's just kind of boring
that it becomes really boring. And like there are some fun moments in it, but like it didn't even get what I was hoping. Like what I wanted from the trailers was giant shark eating bunches of people like at a beach or something. And like we didn't have any like fun giant shark. Like having a giant shark that looks that good, like as good as the technology allows them to have these days, is really cool.
Yeah.
And then they do nothing with the
shark. It's actually pretty boring. But yeah, no, it's I feel like, what did I say? I said, big surprise, it's a perfectly mediocre movie.
I gave it 2 stars.
I gave it a 2.5.
Then on the 8th, we rewatched Kung Fu Panda 2, one of my favorite of the trilogy.
I hadn't seen it since we watched it in theaters, which that was a little bit ago now.
About like 10 years.
Just a decade ago.
No, Kung Fu Panda 2 is so good, though.
I'm still so torn on whether or not I prefer 1 or 2.
No,
they're both so good.
I put them on equal level. I give them both 4.5 stars. I think they're some of the best like animated, especially sequel stuff that's ever been made. Yeah,
no, this is a fantastic sequel to the first Kung Fu Panda movie. Like, really great, actually.
Expands the themes, expands the universe.
It's a lot more mature than the first one too.
Yeah, and I was about to say it's a lot more serious. Yeah, even with Po.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no,
it's got a great villain.
Go watch Kung Fu Panda 2. Also, it's female directed, so
heck yeah, it is.
I put it on a list of like my favorite female directed movies.
Well, there you go.
Next, we watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Which we watched with Haley.
Heck yeah, we did.
Which was it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is always a fun movie.
It's just such a good movie. I don't know what to say. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's a 5-star movie.
Micah, you're a teenager. You have to like Ferris Bueller's
It's true. I don't know what to tell
It's
you.
the
I'm
law.
contractually obligated to like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I gave it a 4.5. I do have some problems with it at times, but we could probably do a whole episode on Ferris Bueller's
It would be.
Day
That would
Off, yeah.
actually be a good thing to do an episode on.
Yes. I'm surprised we haven't yet, actually.
Right. Then on the 10th, I think this is where I split off. I watched.
You watched
like
a couple
bunch
things,
of stuff
yeah.
without you.
Yeah.
I watched the Yin Yang Master, which is a Chinese Netflix original movie. I watched the earlier Yin Yang Master movie that was also on Netflix.
I feel like you mentioned it last week.
Yeah, they're not connected, but like they're the same characters.
I think
but
they're
not the same actors.
Maybe they're based off with like the same.
No,
thing.
they're based off of the same thing. I don't know what the source material is. I think it's probably like a book or something, but it's
looks like
much
a book.
much different tonally from the other one. The other one was a lot better. This one felt more like it was trying to be a modern blockbuster than the other one.
Big mistake.
And it was like really not very good. There was a ton of weird CGI creatures. It had the whole typical guy gets thrown into an arena with like big CGI monster, beats the monster, and then becomes friends with said monster, and they break out together.
When will people learn that only Tom Cruise can make good action blockbusters?
But yeah, it wasn't very good. It was really boring, and it was longer than the first one, I think.
Oof.
So yeah, I gave it 2.5 because like the filmmaking overall was relatively solid. It was just like the writing was terrible.
Oh, I see.
Then did you watch on the 10th anything?
No.
Okay, so on the 11th, I watched Zombies. Or Zombies. Disney Channel original movie.
Disney Channel original. The movie about singing, cheerleading,
and races.
Segregation.
Honestly, probably one of the worst things I've ever seen from Disney Channel. And like the way they did race stuff wasn't atrocious, but like it was honestly some of the worst music I've ever heard.
When you told me that that's what it was about, I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was just gonna be like a fun little like zombie movie satire that was a musical.
If you go on Letterboxd, the first review has some of the best quotes from the movie.
It has kinda zombies' funniest moments.
Kind of gives you a feel for what the movie is. But like honestly, the most disappointing thing is because Disney Channel movies like this are never very good. But the most disappointing thing was like the songs were actively terrible.
Oof. Like the movie would have been better if they removed the songs.
Yes, the movie would have been better if they would have cut out the songs.
That sucks.
Like these songs were really, really bad. But I gave it 1 star.
Nice.
I'll let you do that because technically you did watch it before.
Okay. On the 11th, we were, I don't even remember how it came up.
No, we were sitting around, we were talking about watermelon and
we
taste.
were talking about watermelon, yes.
And then we thought about the amazing short film.
We thought about the most cursed short film ever conceived by a person, I think. I'm not even sure a person made this. It just crawled out of hell.
And our dad hadn't seen it, so we watched
it. It's Watermelon, A Cautionary Tale, which you have probably seen, whether you know it or not.
Probably creeps into your nightmare
in GIF form on Twitter or something.
Yeah, it's horrifying. I would not suggest go watching it unless you're curious to see the most horrifying thing you've ever seen.
It's all about a boy who swallows watermelon seeds and gradually turns into a watermelon. That's what it's about.
Sounds innocent enough until it's not.
Sounds like maybe it'll be cute or funny or something.
But it's not any of those things.
It's like the most horrifying thing ever conceived, and it sucks, and I hate it.
Yeah.
This is one of the few films I actively kind of hate.
Then I rewatched Ford v Ferrari that night.
Micah, you're going to be in like your 40s, and you're just going to be binging this movie on a loop.
I love Ford v Ferrari so much. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The cars, the actors, the
Christian Bale's phoning it in, Micah. Everybody's phoning it in.
Dude, I love this movie. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think Christian Bale gives that bad of a performance.
I mean, it's not that bad, but like he's not doing it. Like he's not putting a lot into this.
I don't know. I get a lot, like, I don't know. I really like this
Oh,
movie.
no, I really like it, too.
My only big problem with it is you definitely feel its length. It's like 2.5 hours long, and you feel that.
Oh, yeah, no, it feels like an anthology series.
But man, I like just the energy that it has. The cinematography is beautiful. The lighting is great.
The editing,
The editing is really darn good. I really like the main cast. I think they do a good job. I think they have good chemistry.
Fine job. They do a fine job.
Dude, I like Christian Bale and Matt Damon though. Like playing guys being dudes is really fun.
I think if I didn't like racing as much as I do, I probably wouldn't enjoy Ford v Ferrari that much.
If these were ugly cars, I wouldn't like Ford v Ferrari as much. But luckily, it's just new enough that they're nice-looking cars.
Those are the cool cars.
And I don't know. I love movies like this where they have to like build a car or something for like a big race. I don't know. Like I don't know what to describe what I'm talking about.
Cars 2 is Micah's favorite animated film.
But like you know what I'm talking about. There are other movies like this with like this kind of energy and feel.
I guess. It's a biopic
that I just really love, and I don't know. I love Ford v Ferrari for as much as it is not the best performances from the actors that they could have gotten, and is very long. I still think it is.
It's such a dad movie, Micah. It's part of the dad movie canon.
But yeah, that was the last thing I watched before we finished up Demon Slayer.
Yeah, and we had been sprinkling a bit of Demon Slayer all over that week, so...
Because it is 10 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say, we didn't just sit down one day and just watch all of Demon Slayer. Which, I mean, you could conceivably do. It's only 10 hours.
Yeah, I think you'd, like, melt your brain or something, though.
I wonder what it would even be like watching it all at once. It would probably be kind of draining, honestly.
Yeah, no, it would be. Sitting down and watching, like, even, like, a couple long movies for anything over, like, 5 hours is so draining. Like,
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for listening this far. If you have listened to the What We Watched segment.
Right, we went pretty long this week.
Well, I mean, we had a whole show. We had 10 hours to talk about.
But I hope you enjoyed this episode, even though it was on something a little different.
Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of our audience probably doesn't even watch that much anime.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but here,
watch this either perform really terribly or really well.
Yeah, I mean, basically we just did this in build because I didn't want to just like hop in and do the movie, but I do want to see them
related they are.
Yeah, I was about to say like it just made sense to do the season 1 of the show.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have another show you want us to check out, like just send it to us.
Yeah, and go check out Demon Slayer.
Yeah. If you need a way to send it to us, you can either go to robbiegrayway.com/recently-logged.
Or find us at Recently Logged on pretty much any social media.
Yeah, it's just at Recently Logged, so...
Except for MySpace.
MySpace. Are we on LinkedIn, Micah?
We're not on LinkedIn
Are we on
either.
Snapchat,
we're failing.
Micah?
We're failing. Look at this. That's at least 3 social media that we do not have a presence on. We're not on Pinterest, Discord.
Ooh, what if we started a subreddit,
Reddit.
Micah? What if we started r/recently logged, so it's like recently logged?
There we go. Start a subreddit.
I've always wanted to start a subreddit where something starts with R, so I could do the r/ and then the rest of the word.
There you go.
I think that would be really funny. But then like all of the pages will just say "Recently logged."
Recently logged.
Which I don't think that's what we want. All right, but yeah, we'll see. Week. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good spring break, maybe.
Spring break. Oh yeah, I don't get spring break, Micah.
We're about to have spring break.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I'm just not in school at the moment. That's why.
Well, yeah. I'm about to have spring break.
To have spring break. Yes, but yeah. See you guys next time.